Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Yeah.
afternoon, sir.
Good
Good afternoon.
afternoon.
Good, 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 good. All right. So, finally, we are here. Last week we couldn't meet, but we thank God for the opportunity to meet this um, afternoon to continue from where we left off about 2 weeks ago. And then I think I asked the class rep that you should read some sessions. I don't know if you did, even if you didn't get any information. Once there was no meeting, we were supposed to, go through the notes. So let me know if there are some questions, comment, question that the next few quiet. Any so far? Per the calendar, next last meeting, if I'm not mistaken, and it's going to be an face to face. Hello, class.
Hi, sir.
Yes. So I'm told we are having. Is that correct?
You're right, sir. Next week is face to
Ah,
face.
yes, sir.
Or is there an issue with the internet?
I believe so. Some people are struggling with the internet, sir.
Oh, I see. Okay. So
Sir,
I
I
think
can't hear
so.
you at my end.
You can't do what, please?
I can't hear you at my end well.
Wow. Um, I had a very wonderful meeting with the level 200s this morning. And so I wonder why the internet is terrible. Um, Joseph, for class rep, are you with us?
No, sir, he's not with us. He's not here.
Okay. And then questions. Let's quickly look at
Say,
what.
I have one question.
Okay.
Eh, Please, I want to know the difference between stock to order and stock to forecast.
Okay.
Okay. Or if you can
Eh,
explain the two.
Okay. Any other question? Any other? All right. So I think when we're looking at this, we had an extensive discussion on that. The stock to order, as the name depicts, is when an organization is stocking based on a specific order received from a buyer, okay, or yes, from a buyer, okay, so you are stocking, you are keeping some inventory because there's what, an impending request or there's an order in place. So the inventory is as a result of that outstanding request. But the stock to forecast, there's no request, there's no order. But based on forecast, that normally maybe when we get to, let's say, the last quarter of the year, during the Christmas, period, consumers maybe troop into various shopping centers. So as a result, the organization may be stocking based on their forecast. Okay, so there's no potential um, 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 or direct order, but it is based, they are stocking based on what? Their forecast. On what? An order. There's a specific order. So they are stocking up in order to meet the request or honor the order that has been placed by a buyer. But the second one, the stock to forecast, is based on forecast. There's no direct order, but the organization will be stocking up in order to meet the demand based on their forecast. I hope that is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that is the difference between the two. Any other question?
Yes, sir.
And another one.
Hello.
Let me
Okay.
finish it, Harrison.
Okay.
And also, I want to know the difference between holding stock and then holding excess stock.
Holding what?
Holding stock.
And holding what? Excess stock.
Yes.
Oh, sir, please, I wanted to ask more
That is
on the first this one that Gabby asked.
Harrison, go ahead.
Yes, the stock to order, and then are the goods produced and kept in inventory before the demand is met, or the customer demands for them?
Come again. The
Yes,
network
the stock
was
to order.
stock to order.
Yes, I mean
Okay.
the stock to order, where we said the business produces and purchases the goods and keeps them in inventory.
Okay.
And I'm asking, so do they keep the goods in inventory before the demand for them, or they produce the goods as and when the demand comes?
Okay. So that is another good question. Can somebody try the stock to order? Where does it really start? Is it after the order has been placed, or
Hello, sir.
yes, sir?
So basically, when you talk about the stock to order is basically when the order comes in before we we stock. So the stocking that we are stocking based on the demands, or we are stocking basically to meet the demands of our customers.
Yeah.
So yes, sir. So basically, it can be in just in time. It can be in just in time that, okay, which means that it might not even stay in the, what do you call it? So it all depends on the customers when it comes to so to me, that's what I think this is all about.
Yeah. Yes, Joseph, Hassan, I think the just in time comes in where when the customer demands for the goods, like when they place order, they're just in time. Yes, they're just in time. They are produced when the company receives the order.
No, we are not talking about we've not mentioned just in time here. We are
He
mentioning
mentioned, Hassan mentioned it, so that's why I was.
stock to order and then stock to forecast, right? So these were the
Yes,
two
sir.
things.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you stock without any direct order, then it is known as what? Stock to forecast. It is based on forecast. Okay,
Okay.
so with a stock to order, it means there's what? A potential order in place. So you are stocking based on the order you have received. If there's no
Okay.
potential order, then it is not stock to order, but rather it could be based on what? Forecast.
Forecast. Okay.
So that is the difference between the two.
Okay.
So one, there's what? An order in place. So you are stocking in order to honor the order. But this one, the other one is based on what? Expectation, based on forecast or estimation that when we get to, weekends, people consume more alcohol. So let us stock.
Okay.
And then maybe you are there, maybe you operate, you have a wholesale for maybe drinks, alcohol, beverages. And then some people will come, oh, we have a funeral here, so we will need about 300 crates or something. This is stock. You are stocking because there's what? An order in place. So it is to meet the order. But once you are stocking just because you see that there are going to be what? Funerals or parties this weekend, then it is based on forecast.
Okay. So what about the just in time?
So just in time. So just in time, more or less, an inventory technique, okay? A scientific inventory technique used by organizations, okay? So in order not to stock, because we've seen that inventory is scarce, okay? Space may be a challenge, security may be a challenge. So the organization may adopt a strategy. Okay, so the strategy is that they are using just in time. But to be able to say that we are using just in time, it means you have a very robust system. You have a trusted supplier in place. Okay, you have a trusted supplier in place, so that by just a phone call or a click of a mail, the supplier will provide the needed item. So it's an inventory technique.
Okay.
So if you want to minimize, some organizations do not want to, have anything to do with what? Inventory management.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the strategy they are using. So before you can say we are going 100% just in time, you need to have a robust system in place and then trusted suppliers.
The trusted supplier, dependable.
Yes, dependable supplier. So that by a click of a button, your needs are delivered. Because failure on the part of the suppliers to meet your needs means your operations will come to what? A halt.
And customer dissatisfaction.
Yes. So that is that. Okay. So the last time we met, I think yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you didn't answer my second question.
Go ahead. Gabriel,
Okay.
you have
Yes, my
okay.
second question, you didn't answer.
Okay, what was
Hello.
yes, the question again, please. Gabriel, your internet. Oh,
Hello, can you hear me now?
yes, it's better.
Okay. The holding stock and then the holding excess stock.
Okay, so this one, I want a lady to answer our brother, Gabriel, any lady here, respond to our brother, holding stock and holding excess stock. Yes. Jonathan, you want to respond there?
I wanted to ask a question though, but with this his question to holding stock and then holding excess stock. For me, I think if it's about excess stock, then probably it will be based on a certain customer's requisition that you have to hold so much excess stock, because every business knows that if you hold too much stock, definitely your capital can be locked up in stock. So you hold necessary stock, which would out of your forecast that you would hold what stock. So if you are holding too much, or let's say beyond the normal that you have to, then it means that it's probably based on a customer's requisition or demand. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. And then you wanted to ask another question. Go ahead before I come.
My question was I was having this chat with AI, and the question that I asked AI was building. You see, like building office block. You see, the cement which are used in the building of office block, is it also direct or is it indirect procurement? AI was saying that it was indirect because it is not actually for what do you call it? If let's say that same company is an estate developing company, so let's say if buildings were supposed to be for sale, then it would have been direct. But since it is for the office, or let's say it's just for the company for usage, it does not fall into this thing, the direct. So I want to know whether which one is right. Whether direct is correct, yes, sir.
Okay, so the office space, what are you using the office space for? I said to be able to differentiate between direct and indirect, you need to look at the operations of the organization. Okay, you need to look at the operations of the organization. So every organization has its core mandate, core activities. So you come to the university, we have buildings, we have offices. So you ask yourself, what are the core mandates of the university? Okay, so that will tell you that buildings are important, but they may not be. Even buildings, when you come to the university, not just any building. We have types of buildings. We have lecture block, we have office block, we have other, facilities on campus. They are all buildings, but the functions of the facility will indicate direct. Okay, so it is not just building the office or using cement to build an office block. What is the mandate of the organization? What is the mandate of that unit, organization? So that is why you got that answer from, the AI. Is the facility part of the company's core activities? If the answer is yes, then that project will be classified as what? Direct. But if it is not, then it could be an indirect procurement.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. And then, Gabriel, you were asking about stock and then excess stock. You ask yourself why organizations, first of all, hold stock. Okay, so the purpose is for contingency, activities or purposes, or to help the organization get hold of, certain items without delay. Okay, so that is why any organization may hold some level of what? Stock or inventory. Now, and then the inventory is held in relation to the demands of the organization. So once you go beyond the demands of the organization, it means that you are holding excess stock. In other words, the organization may not even use it. Okay, and that will be a cost to the organization. So that is strategies. They are methods being used by these organizations to minimize stock level. Because we've seen that stocking or inventory is cash. So if you are really into business, you will not pile your stock because the money could be used for other activities to bring in what? Profit. Okay. So they are methods. So if you want to hold stock, for instance, you need to hold the required stock, not to go beyond excess stock. Excess simply means you don't really need it. It is beyond the demands or requirements of the organization. Okay, so it is good. Stock is good, but holding excess will be what? A disadvantage to the organization. That is the meaning of that. So once we classify something as excess, it means that it has what? It is outside the expectation or requirement of the organization. The organization doesn't really need them. And then what could be the reason why an organization is having, excess stock? Probably your estimator, you have poor estimates or forecast. Or maybe the procurement officers are not doing their work well, they are just procuring. They are just procuring. Okay. So if you just procure because you think that is your administrative right, you will end up having excess stock. And that is not a good thing. You only procure. So sometimes you have what you call an insurance. Stock is more or less an insurance. In case there's an emergency need, quickly you can just fall on your inventory to carry on with your operations. Okay, so you must that it does not go outside what is needed. And then again, you must not have what is needed. You shouldn't go below the requirement of the organization. So if the organization will use, let's say, 20 boxes of A4 sheet, assuming you work in a printing press, and you know that every day the minimum A4 sheets the company uses will be maybe 40 boxes. You can't have 5 in the organization because you know that at least on the average, the minimum will be what? 20 boxes. So at least you're supposed, the stock supposed to be around 20, not under, not above. So once you are within, then it means you are doing a very good job.
Okay.
You get it? So that it is very important on how we plan, and then there's something we call demand settling. So you know the demand of the organization. You know that the organization will have several units. You know that this department will need this, will need that, will need this every week. So based on the reports you'll be generating, the weekly report, the monthly report, you know that these are the demands. So you know that in a month, this will be the demand for this particular product, demand for this particular product. You have all the reports. So based on that, you can say that the minimum stock for this product is supposed to be this. Sometimes certain things will happen, and then the company's production capacity will increase because maybe you receive unplanned requests and other things. Or sometimes your demand will fall. Some of these things do happen. But on the average, normally, on the average, you're supposed to work within that at least. That is why we have averages. That on the average, these are our demands. So you know, as you sit here, you know that on the average, maybe you spend 500 cedis a day, 300 cedis a day. You know it. But sometimes you could go beyond 500 cedis a day. Sometimes it will be less than 500 cedis a day. But on the average, it is around that figure. So if 500 cedis a day, meaning your salary is supposed to be around 15,000, right? So if you are taking home less than 15,000, 10,000 cedis a month, you can't be spending 500 cedis a day. You can't be doing that. So today, if you are spending 500 cedis today, even though you take home 10,000 cedis, the next few days, you need to bring down your spending to be able to be in the range. So maybe the next 1 week, instead of 300 cedis, you'll be spending 100 cedis because you overspent 3 days ago. So now you are trying to minimize or break even. So people will come to the office, they do not want to eat. It's not because of anything. It's not because they are fasting. But last weekend, they went out with friends and then he overspent. Okay. Mr. Momoni.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, just a quick one. Was it last week? Is it UAE, United Arab Emirates, announced that yesterday they will be leaving the OPEC community. And as a logistician and procurement officers as we are, what is the effect on developing economies? I want you to share your thoughts on that, sir.
The effect of UAE leaving OPEC.
Yes, sir.
Anyways,
on smaller economies, sir.
Not only on smaller economies, but because we live in a global environment. And you know what OPEC stands for? You know, OPEC stands for, oil producing countries, right? So what are the reasons? We need to get the full story as to why UAE is leaving. If they are leaving, are they going to, make available the same amount of, what do you call it? Fuel they always send onto the international market? If the answer is no, then obviously it's going to affect everybody. Okay, it's going to affect everybody. And here the effect is not going to be positive, it's going to be negative because now it has to do with demand and supply. So why are they leaving? Are they going to cut or reduce their supply? If the answer is yes, meaning now demand is going to be more than supply. And once it happens, what will be the impact? Impact is that prices will generally go up. Okay, and then it will affect because everybody directly or indirectly uses fuel. It's going to affect all of us. So that is the situation.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But do we have ladies in this class? I'm not.
Yes, sir, we have, sir.
I'm not hearing their voices. In fact, it's not. Rebecca, say something.
Sir, we are here.
Yes, sir, we are here.
I want you to say something before you die.
So we'll be asking you questions soon. Don't worry.
Yakubu, manage.
The questions we'll be bombarding you with questions, so you hold on.
Okay.
We beg, we are here.
Wonderful. Okay, so we are basically through with the semester. Just 2 topics more to go. That is, we will be looking at buyer-supply relationship, and then some an introductory part of what contract management. So these are the outstanding topics. So I said last 2 weeks we were looking at supply chain philosophies. We said that if you look at any supply chain, there are a number of players and they are all operating on the supply chain. So basically you see not just the buyer or the supplier or the logistics or, there are other players. Okay, so there are a number of things we need to consider if you are trying to understand a particular supply chain. But the critical players will be the buyer and then the suppliers. So that is why our brother mentioned, Momoni, that if you look at the oil business or market, because UAE, a major oil producer, is leaving the organized association for oil producing countries, what will be the impact? The impact, as I've already mentioned, is going to be dire because, first of all, even though Ghana as a country, we mine oil, but look at how we manage the oil here. We still buy oil from outside. You guys, we don't just buy from, Cape Trade Points. No. Okay, so it is going to affect us because of that international aspect of that oil supply chain. So it will affect all of us. So if you look at what happens, the expectation is that we allow the forces of demand and supply to operate. But it doesn't really happen because sometimes, due to certain reasons, producers or suppliers may have influence on what happens on the market. And as a result, they will be making prices for the buyers to take. Sometimes, due to one or two reasons, the buyers may have an advantage, and as a result, will be influencing prices of goods and services in the market. Okay, so that is why we looked at the concept of supply. In fact, we didn't focus largely on demand, but from the beginning of the course till we got to this point, almost everything was on the demand side. So even though these are the two major players, they have two distinct goal or objective to be in any market. Okay, so we looked at the law of demand, we looked at what? The law of supply. So the expectation is that the forces will work seamlessly, and then they'll be able to bring that to what we term as the equilibrium position. So at the equilibrium position, quantity supplied will be the same as quantity demanded. In that case, there are no excesses, there are no shortages. That is the expectation. We all want that to happen, but it is not possible. So because of that, sometimes prices go slightly above the equilibrium position. It could be a government decision. Sometimes government will step in to introduce or regulate the prices of goods and services, even though it's not the best. But sometimes because of the numerous inefficiencies on the market, government will step in to try to bring the balance by introducing what we call a minimum price or a maximum price. So when a minimum price is fixed, and minimum prices are fixed above the equilibrium. And as we know, once the price is above equilibrium, between the buyer and then the supplier, who will be so much happy with that decision? Can somebody tell us when the price of a particular commodity is regulated? Maybe government steps in and then introduces a minimum price, and the minimum price is above the equilibrium price. So at that point, between the buyer and then the supplier, who will be so much happy with this decision? Mr. Momoni.
So
Come again.
I said the supplier, sir. The supplier will be happy, sir.
The supplier. Okay. Jonathan, do you have a different opinion?
Sir.
Those are the same things, sir. The supplier.
Wonderful. But in the long run, the supplier will suffer, especially if the commodity is perishable in nature or doesn't last for a longer time. Okay, the supplier will suffer because once supply exceeds demand, there will be what? Excesses or surpluses. And because there are excesses, producers are into business not to worship the goods or the services they're providing. They want people to consume it, demand and consume it. So that is the essence of production. You produce, and the expectation is that it will get to the final consumer. So if consumers are not demanding, then suppliers will then begin to lower their prices far below the original equilibrium price. And before we realize, prices are far, far, far cheaper than it was initially. You get it? So there are some implications. So that is why anytime government is stepping in to introduce a minimum price, the expectation is that government does not widen the gap between the equilibrium price and then the minimum price. Because the more the gap is wide, the higher the impact will be on the economy. The same applies to a maximum price. So government steps in and then introduces a maximum price. Maximum price are fixed below the equilibrium. So in the short run, consumers will jubilate. Why? Because prices are much lower than the equilibrium price. But in the long run, because suppliers are not happy or are not interested in lower prices, they will cut down they will not supply more. Okay, so demand will exceed supply, and this will
Prices will
create
go up.
To push it up.
so this will create what we call shortages. Okay, so because there are shortages and people are queuing for products and services, then we will be pushing for the
Pushing the
prices
price.
to go up. Okay, so I will tell the supplier will tell you, the product I have it too, but I will not sell it for 100 cedis. If you need it, I can give it to you for 500. Do you want it? Because especially for critical items, necessities, we will buy even if it is 500 cedis. 500 cedis, 100 cedis to 500 cedis is about 500%. People will buy, and this will create what we term as what? Black market. Okay, the goods are there, but suppliers are not ready to sell at the maximum price, and this will create black market situation. So before we realize, prices are far, far, far higher than the equilibrium price. Okay, so that is why anytime government is planning to step in to regulate the market, they need to be very careful, because it's not just about politics, it is about economics. Economics is not the same as politics, so we need to be very careful about that. Okay, so that is basically what we focus on. And then again, I didn't talk about types of supply chain. Supply chains are not the same, because products sometimes do not come from your jurisdiction, so that may affect the kind of supply chain you have. Okay, so we are here and we are buying oil from Iran, oil from UAE, oil from other places. So look at the supply chain network for oil. highly complicated. Okay, highly complicated. But if you want to buy, let's say, cocoa beans, where do we buy cocoa beans in Ghana? We don't buy cocoa beans from Brazil. We don't buy cocoa beans from China or from Nigeria. Cocoa beans can be bought within Ghana. So the supply chain for cocoa beans in Ghana is more or less domestic, straightforward. Okay. So once you have the choice as a procurement, logistics, or supply chain person, okay, once you have the option of choosing among the forms and types of supply chain, I will always advise that we go with simple supply chain compared to complex or complicated supply chain. Because the more complex the supply chain is, the more difficult it is to manage it. Therefore, managing the supply chain becomes difficult when the chain is complicated. So the oil case, what can we do about it? There's little we can do because most of the things are outside our control because we are dealing with a complicated supply chain. I hope that is clear. But if you do not have the choice, then you deal with it. For instance, let me give you this typical. If you've been to Abosokan, what is Abosokan known for? Can somebody tell me what Abosokan is known for?
Say spare parts.
Papers.
Right. I'm teaching, please. Keep quiet. Yes. So spare parts. Now, if you get to Abosokan and you want to buy, let's say, driving mirror, the moment you park your car, look at the number of people that will come to you. Not all of them are directly selling the mirror. Not all of them. Some of them are middle men, intermediaries. Assuming you know where to get the mirror, the shop, you know a shop, you even know the owner of the shop. And somebody who doesn't know any shop, the person is new in Accra, heard that, oh, if you need anything, spare parts, go to Abosokan. The person is there, no idea about where to get the mirror. The person is there. You think the price these two people will pay for the mirror will be the same?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay,
It's
so
different.
can you tell us what will happen? Can you
Okay,
give? Mhm.
so I want to give an indication of what will happen. Because the middleman will also have his share in the sales you make. There are two things involved. If he is the one who is going to look for the item for you, he's going to add up his margin or a markup to the original price.
Wonderful.
Or the other option is at times he will lead you to the shop. But
Okay.
the shop owners know the business these men do with them because they bring them the customer.
Wonderful.
So if the original price is 10 cedis, the shop owner, knowing that it is a Goro guy who has led you to the shop, will call 12 cedis.
Yeah.
And irrespective of what you say, he will not give it to you at the original price, which is 10 cedis, maybe 11 cedis.
Wonderful.
And at the time that you have left, the Goro man then goes back and take his cut.
Wonderful.
But
Wonderful.
let's assume you know the shop maybe directly. So let's assume the Goro man led you the first place. Now, on your second going, looking for a similar item, you will not be using the Goro man again.
Yeah.
Then you go and see the actual shop price of the item, and it will shock you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Well, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You see, the situation that was one is even simple. I don't know if you have heard of magazine, Kumasi Swami magazine. They also into spare parts, similar to Abosokai. The place is The situation there is critical. You see, a lot of people are working there. They don't own any shop. They don't have any product, but they are there. The moment you park your car, more than 10 people will come there. Boss, what do you need? Once you, oh, I can get you one. Wait for me. The person doesn't have. You go and talk to another person. That person doesn't have. Talk to. So before you realize, the supply chain consists of about 10 people. And all those players are adding something. So before the item gets to you, you are paying more than 50% or even more of the actual price. So that is why we need to be very careful when dealing with supply chains, especially the ones we have control over. But if you do not have control over, then you deal with it. Okay, so that is that. Today, we are looking at, briefly, Unit 6, buyer-supplier relationships. Buyer-supplier relationships. You know that relationships are important, not only in procurement or supply chain operations, no. Even here, student-lecturer relationship, it is very, very important. And I've told you that it helps a lot. You know, some students have graduated, but because of how they related to lecturers, they are not getting the needed assistance in terms of recommendation, in terms of attestation, in terms of other things. Okay, but some students are easily getting it because once they were in school, they had that relationship with lecturers. So anytime they tell the lecturers that, oh, say I need a recommendation for my postgraduate studies, I need this for this, they will get it. It is because of what? The relationship. Okay, so relationships are very, very, very important. So when you talk about relationship, it can simply be defined as what? A connection or association. Connection or association. And it's one of the important aspects in procurement now. If you remember when we were looking at the evolution of purchasing through procurement according to Rick and Long, they gave 4 stages. The third stage is relational, and it is actually on this. So this concept started from that time, relationship. So the type of relationship between the supplier and the purchaser is often linked to the length of a contract or business transaction. Okay, so the relationship or the contract or engagement could be a short term, could be a medium term, could be a long term engagement. So once it is a long term engagement, then you need to be looking at developing or nurturing a very solid relationship with your partner. But if it is a one-time transaction, there's no need because you are learning about buyer-supplier relationship. Even if you're buying sachet water, in traffic, you want to collect the person's number, know where the person stays and all that. No, that is not what we are talking about. So procurement relationships should be based on the length of engagement. Okay, so some businesses can never be developed to that closer relationship because of what they do. The company is not looking at progress. They are not expanding and all that. So if you are not expanding, you can't be dependent on that particular, supplier or manufacturer. So transformation in relationships from reactive and mechanical procurement to proactive procurement. Prior to the 1980s, most procurement relationships were reactive because at the time, the function was a mere clerical role or administrative role. So once there's a need, quickly, we just find the source. We don't care whether there's an existing relationship or not. And then the purchasers were going to the market with cash. So that is why at the time, procurement was basically referred to as purchasing. Because once you want to purchase something, then you must have the money. Okay, so you don't really care about the relationship you have. So interactions between vendor and purchaser often resulted in outcomes where one's gain became the other's loss. Okay, so you think you are dealing with a particular supplier. The supplier is giving you all the accolades. Before you realize, your wife will tell you that you have been as smart. Okay, so they are giving you titles you have never heard before. It is all gimmick, marketing gimmick, just to outsmart you. Okay, so at the end of the day, you may think that you have it, but the other person is gaining massively. So the movement towards collaborative relationship has been evolutionary for most companies. So the phases are phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, which started as antagonistic or traditional school of supply chain. You don't really care about who or where you are getting your supplies from. Once you can provide it, I buy. There's no need to know you. I don't really trust you. There's no kind of relationship, proper relationship. It is just antagonistic, kind of. And then it moves to what we term as what competitive or adversarial. So there's suspicion rather than total distrust. So the first phase, there's distrust. We don't even trust him or her, but you are buying it. Then there's what we call competitive adversarial. Then to cooperative or closer buyer relations as a result of what mutual goals. Then to the final stage, what we term as what collaborative or total trust between purchaser and seller. Others classify this as what? Strategic alliance. Strategic alliance. So relationship must be nurtured. Okay, so you can't develop relationship one day. It takes time. It takes time. Even in our, homes, our friendship, you can't say that, oh, this is my best friend for somebody you just met. It takes time. So over time, you know that this person could be trusted. This person is, no, you can't really trust him or her. This person doesn't keep secrets. This person is quiet. This person is that. I don't like this. This person is this. He or she gossips. You get it? So once you get close to somebody, you know the positives and negatives. Some of the negatives you can deal with that. Others you can't do without. Okay, so when growing up, my mother told me something that, once you are playing with people and then they begin to show signs of curses, run away from them. So I got this when I was very young, primary school, junior high school. So I don't like people who like to curse. No, I will just run away from you. Okay, so once you are like that, no matter how beautiful you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter the kind of whatever you have, we can't be friends. We can't be friends. All right, so it is so. It is so important now that we need to consider the development of a closer buyer-supplier relationship. Now, let's look at some characteristics of buyer-seller relationships. And we are looking at the traditional or the adversarial approach compared to that of the collaborative or partnership or strategic alliance. So the number of suppliers. The first one. If you go to the traditional adversarial, we may have many suppliers. Why? Because you don't trust people. There's more or less competition. Okay. So today, if you are not there, I can buy from this shop, I can buy from. So we deal with a lot of suppliers. But once the relationship is collaborative, partnership, one or a few preferred suppliers for each major item with long-term contract and agreed upon performance improvement targets. Okay, so that is why most people are married to one. Because at that level, the relationship is not just adversarial. It is more or less a joint kind of partnership kind of relationship. So once you want to you get it, because it takes time, it takes resources to develop. So you may not have maybe 20 best friends. No, even in a personal level, you do not have 20 best friends. You may have about one or two you can call your best friends. But for classmates, you may have now in your class, you're over 30 or so. So they are your classmates. You know them, but not all of you are friends or best of friends. Length of relationship for traditional adversarial may be brief because there's no trust. Even if there's some kind of trust, there's kind of competition. So very short, brief. I may deal with you today. Tomorrow, there's no guarantee that I will be coming to you again. But for collaborative or partnership, once you have that, it will be long term, especially when you get to that level, strategic alliance. Different company, but now you are behaving like one company because you have shared responsibility. In terms of price, low price, it is the major focus when the relationship is traditional adversarial. So why are you buying from this supplier? You think that the supplier is giving you a good deal. That is the only reason. But once the relationship is advanced, you may not even consider price. You know that that company will not overprice because it takes time to build relationship. So the relationship you have been able to develop over the years can't be destroyed because of price. So you don't really look at that. You get it? So that is why when you go to your room with your wife, you leave money anywhere because that is your wife, that is your husband. Babo money, just be frank. Your girlfriend, will you just allow your girlfriend to, access to your wardrobes and all that? No, but your wife can because of what? The trust.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So relationship, the more advanced the relationship is in terms of price, reliability concerning the product may not be high for situations where the relationship between the buyer supplier is what? Adversarial. Because the thing you are buying, you don't even trust the supplier. The supplier is saying it is good. You don't even believe him or her. But once you are getting it from a known supplier, a partner, a supplier you classify as what? A partner. A supplier you have known over the years. You know that that supplier will give you quality stuff. So it is very high, very, very high. Openness, very low for adversarial, but very high with, advanced or closer buyer-supplier relationship. Quality, issue of quality, whether the product in question is of high quality, it is not, may not be, be the focus. Because from the beginning, there's some kind of tension, some kind of mistrust. And then the other party is trying to find a way to outsmart you. So sometimes, if you're not lucky, people will say, oh, this is iPhone 17 Pro Max. Before you realize, it will become a soap. Upon reaching the home, the phone will become, a bar soap. So they will tell you that, oh, the iPhone 17 Plus is 2,000 cedis or 500 cedis, 1,000 cedis. You know definitely that we don't use 1,000 cedis, 500 cedis to buy iPhone 17 Pro Max. But you still bought it. So you get home and you realize that it is not phone, but rather what? Kiso. So that is the danger. But a known supplier will never do such a thing. And then because of that, look at the volume of business. So suppliers, unknown suppliers, supplier where there is no advanced relationship, the volume of business may be low due to the nature of supply, many of them, but high for partnership approach. In terms of flexibility, very low with, adversarial or traditional, but high, your supplier can make necessary adjustment. Because I said that the more you develop relationship, different companies, but in the long run, the two companies may appear like a single company because you have what? A shared agenda. Cost sharing, buyers take all costs from, the traditional adversarial, but there's a win-win shared rewards for a more advanced relationship. So advantages are a lot. Advantages of closer buyer-supplier relationships. Development of what? Mutual trust. Mutual trust. Why? Because you've been doing business for long. So sometimes when the procurement is high value or technical, you want to deal with, such suppliers. So that is why an entity may be pushing for a single source or sole source procurement. Why? Because maybe due to the technical aspect of the procurement or the volume of what the procurement they want to do with a particular supplier, because that supplier is a trusted supplier. So they don't want to joke with their standards. Okay, so they want to stick to a particular supplier. It is because of that mutual trust. And then it gives an opportunity for buyers to evaluate where suppliers should receive longer term contracts. So once you are very close, you know that, oh, this person is that company is that company is this. Okay, so once you get closer, you begin to know each other well. On that basis, can vouch for company A or B, or say that, no, for this, I will not recommend this company to handle that. So once there is that closeness, it's more or less an incentive for a supplier to invest in new plant or equipment because they know that they are moving with you. So once they invest, their company is also going to make some profits because they are doing or moving, taking the journey together with you. Okay, then it leads to joint development of technology, risk sharing, and identification of problems and offering solutions. Okay, I said that once the relationship exists, different people, like couples, different individuals from different backgrounds, but once you share the same bed, once you are known, once you trust yourself, once person becomes a person's problem becomes, your problem, not the other party or person alone. Okay, so if we are moving together and I'm not able to overcome the challenges, and then in no time my company winds up, it's going to affect the other company. So the other company would do whatever is within their means to help me recover, to be in business, for them to also survive. And then there's what supplier flexibility in terms of accepting changes in productive specification, delivery schedules, quality, quantities, among others. So for known and supplier or contractor, you'll be able to, maybe initially you indicated that the supplier must deliver this number of quantity, but because you have that relationship, you can tell the supplier, oh, can you increase this few days to the delivery time? It is because of what? That relationship. Even in terms of quantity, if they can do that, they will do that for you because of that relationship. Sometimes you may not even have the resources to pay everything up front, but because of the relationship, they will be able to give everything to you and then you pay at a later date. It is because of what? That relationship. And then there's what? Joint information sharing on forecasts, sales data, problems, alerts, among others. So if the supplier is going to, face difficulties in meeting your delivery schedule, they will tell you that is the problem. So let's together make another arrangement, because this is the challenge they have. And once they do not address it, it's going to affect, the two of you. So you sit down with the supplier and then look for maybe other sources where you can get the needed item until their items finally get to your site. That notwithstanding, it's not that easy to say that you are developing a buyer-supplier relationship. There are certain obstacles, and this may include confidentiality issues. So company A is a different company, company B is a different company. But once you want to, have that stronger or closer buyer-supplier relationship, certain information must be known to both parties. And then maybe your company, you do not want to, review your financial status to the other company. So if you don't do that, the company will not trust you. If you tell the company that you do not have finances to pay for this, sometimes you need to show them your financial statement that this is what we are going through. But because you do not want to do that, it becomes a challenge to have that relationship. And if you are not giving information, some confidential information, the other party will not trust you. You get it? So because of confidentiality issues, it becomes a problem for companies to have that stronger buyer-supplier relationship. And then limited interest by suppliers. So the buyer may have interest, but the suppliers may have some, observations. Okay, so once it is like that, it's like you trying to date somebody. You are ready, but the other person is not ready. So what do? It becomes a problem. Unless maybe you use a gun, whether you like it or not, we are dating. What do you think? If you still do that, you force yourself on the person.
Says in the past tense.
Oh, okay.
It's still there.
Yes. Some people, they even though they are not using guns, they are using other things to
On the
force
basis of
them.
money.
Come again.
I say people have been doing this on the basis of money, like trying to force the people into
Yes,
certain marriages
yes,
because their houses are.
yes, yes, yes. So it is also the people are still doing it. And then traditional approach to managing suppliers. So even though we are thinking about improving how we handle suppliers, but as a buying organization, I may be, change is difficult for some people. The same applies to organizations. So maybe from our company's perspective, this is how we manage suppliers. Suppliers are far away from us. We deal with them on that professional level. We don't want to have any kind of relationship with them. So if the company has this culture or perception, it's going to be difficult for them to develop, to open up, to share certain information with their suppliers or contractors so that they can develop that closer relationship. Okay. Some people, the reason why some people behave certain way is because of where they are coming from. Because of where they are coming from. Their background has defined them. So no matter what you tell them, they have certain perception about certain things. And some organizations have the same perception because this is our company. This is how we deal with our suppliers. We can't go beyond the threshold. There's nothing we can do. So if your company is operating on that level, it's going to be difficult to have that relationship. And then avoidance of suppliers who are not technology or product leaders. Maybe in your organization, you are more or less you are implementing or adopting the use of electronic procurement systems. So once you are doing that, it means that all your stakeholders must be on the system, must have that technology, systems in place to be on the same level. So if the suppliers are not or does not have the capacity to be on that same level, it's going to be difficult because you are doing everything electronically. Your suppliers are not there yet. So how are you going to do it? It's not possible. And then there may be legal barriers due to certain legal issues. You'll not be allowed to have certain relationship or maybe review certain document. Okay, certain document or information. So because you cannot give out certain document or information, it's going to, based on law, it is going to affect the kind of relationship you have. Yes, so these are some of the obstacles. So we have I have given, the various levels. I have the transactional relationship advantages and disadvantages. The same applies to strategic alliance or partnership, advantages, disadvantages. So any question? I want to end here. Next weekend is the last time we are meeting for the semester. And then I didn't want to tell you, but I believe there will be a short quiz on that day because all of us will be meeting. You'll do another good quiz. And I'm expecting all of you to be around. If it's going to be a challenge to come, then you need to, I don't know, but we will do a quiz. If there are questions, please ask. Any question, Joseph Anfo? Joseph. Okay, I think I'm seeing how many hands here? Okay, Jonathan, go ahead.
So, you were talking about the strategic alliance.
Strategic alliance.
Yes, sir. I want you to brief me some more on it so that I would be able to understand what it is.
Okay, the strategic alliance is a form of business relationship between a supplying organization and then the buying organization. Okay, So the reason why the buying organization is or has developed that kind of relationship with the supplying organization is for strategic reasons. So we call it strategic alliance. Why? For instance, you know what a Confi does? A Confi is what? A fruit manufacturing company. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So yes, so they will basically need fruits like pineapples and the rest. And then maybe there are some companies, farming companies, they are also producing fruits like pineapples and the rest. So a company will come into or have that alliance. Okay. Two different companies, but there's this strategic alliance. Why? Because they want the company to always produce so that they'll be able to supply them the needed what? Fruits. You get it? So it is buyer supplier relationship, but this is more or less strategic. So sometimes a company may have idle resources, and then they will willingly give it out to the company, the farming company. Why? Because different companies, but they are behaving like one company. You get it? So this relationship is known as what? Strategic alliance. But it's not that easy. You don't get up and say that we have developed or have a strategic alliance with company B or company C. It takes time. Okay, so you start from somewhere. That is why we have phases, the traditional, then you come to, closer to more or less partnership, and then eventually you'll be on that level. So it's a kind of buyer-supplier relationship, but it is for strategic reasons. And I've given you that, example. So the company is more or less producing what you need. So you are coming into contact with maybe the other fruit manufacturing company. They are all sourcing from, the same market, but you want to have this alliance with this company. Okay, so sometimes you visit them, you know what they are doing, just to be sure that you can depend solely on that company for all your, inputs or all your supplies. Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's very, very important. Very, very important. But sometimes, especially in public procurement, due to some legal, issues, this thing may not be possible there. But it's very common, in the private sector. Okay, Mr. Mumuni.
Yes, sir.
Officer Mumuni, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I want to make some small contributions, sir.
Okay.
So with the supplier relationship, as you have enumerated on, it's very key in a procurement cycle, whereby we have the arm's length relationship, the partnership, the adversarial, and the strategic. So with the strategic is for a long time
Yeah.
relationship, which of course, if we keep the relationship good, it could help the business or organization to keep in operation. So what we need to do is that we to manage suppliers in a fashion that they feel that we are one, and supplier and
part. Mhm.
of the business. So when they feel
Yeah.
that they are part of the business, they are
Mhm.
willing and committed to what? Supply the right product at the right time, at the right place, at the right quality, and at the right quantity. Where, of course, where in a situation where there's a law, maybe next time when we treat the law, when there's a law binding both of us, when we enter into the contract, any breach of the contract will result into what? Penalties and other findings or money paid to the other. So it is very critical in the procurement cycle, and we need to maintain a very good relationship. Just as we mentioned earlier, if you have a very good relationship with your wife, anytime you want to go to her, you don't need to ask permission. You just go, you do your thing, and then what's up? Yes, sir. So in effect, establishing good supplier customer relationship is very critical, and we need to invest and then build on it to earn both trust. Thank you, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. But the other thing, don't forget that trying to develop or have this relationship depends on the length of business engagement with the supplier. So
Yes, sir.
before you can say that, oh, we have a strategic alliance, then it means that that supplying organization is doing something that is crucial to you. Okay, so
Yes,
you
sir.
can have that long term. But if the
Yes,
engagement
sir.
is short term, there's no need to develop that because developing a supplier takes money. It's a serious investment. Because I
Yes, sir.
even mentioned that sometimes the buying organization may give out idle resources.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sometimes the supplying buying organization can give grants or subsidies, okay, to the partner. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so
Yes, sir.
that is why at that level you don't have a lot of such arrangements on top. When you get to that strategic alliance, you can't mention maybe 5 of them that we have 5 strategic partnership with these companies. No, that is why when you come to levels, you don't see one person having 10 wives. For 4 wives, yes, it happens because of religious, but it doesn't really, we don't really see it. Me, I have a lot of Muslim friends, but sometimes I teach them, say, hey, but you have that freedom. How come you still have one wife? He will tell you, my friend, it's not easy. Oh, it's not easy. You get it? So it's not easy to manage even wives. 4, 5 of them. The same applies to companies. It's not easy to do that. So we need to be very careful. Once you decide to, it means you have a very long-term arrangement with a particular supplying organization. And it is not just
Yes,
the
sir.
supplying organization. This same applies to contractors. Okay, so it is the same as buyer-contractor relationship. It's the same thing. The supplier is representing the other stakeholders. So if there are no questions, we end here. And
Sure.
then
Sir, they say hand,
Jonathan.
sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
With this customer supplier relation to, there is this thing called the supplier's investment in right first time.
Mm-hmm.
This thing, would I say that let's say for instance, we have certain kind of products in this country that when they started the production, yes, they were very good quality.
Yeah.
But as time went on, we don't see them as that qualitative as it was in the very past. Is it intentional that whilst, like, for instance, the suppliers would intentionally invest in the first time, like supply, or like it's just some kind of what do you call it, like technique in supply chain?
Okay. So this one we can't push the blame on the supplying organization, no, because the buying organization may have a unit, quality assurance unit. Okay, so if there are issues, that's why nothing stops the organization from moving away from a particular supplier to another supplier. And then I said that it takes time. So you can't just maybe based on 1-2 engagement, you say that, oh, we are developing a strategic partnership with this supplying organization. No, it takes time. So before you say that I want to marry this girl, it means that you have seen a lot of things, not just one, not because the face is beautiful or the hip is huge or the person can speak good English. No, it goes beyond that. Okay, so before you can confidently say that, oh, we have this arrangement with this, and trust me, go to a config. That is what they are doing. They are sponsoring some people to farm for them. Okay, a config. I think Otunfo has a similar one at Nkranza. Okay, so the people are on the farm, and then the manufacturing company is somewhere in Kumasi. Config, the same thing, and then the people are also farming. So you have that relationship. So from time to time you visit. You don't sit down and wait, thinking that, oh, we have this alliance. So yes, you should understand that 2 different companies now trying to operate as one. 2 different. It doesn't stop. It doesn't. Your company do not cease to, be independent organizations. Okay, so you need to. in terms of quality, you must take that upon yourself to check. So that's why you have quality. So in your organization, you may have quality unit. The same applies to supplying organization. They may have quality units. So if you have issues, then the issue with regards to quality, then it's not coming from the supplying organization, probably from your production process. So if it is coming from the supplying organization, then you need to change that supplying organization, because you are doing your suppliers, I mean your consumers, do not know who your suppliers are. Because if you are buying a confit, do you care where they are buying their fruit from? No. So if it doesn't taste well, it is the confit that you complain to. You get it? So you can't, I mean, hand over your destiny in the hands of what? Your partner. In the hands of what? Your supplying organization. No. All right. But it is better for us to have that relationship. But whatever is happening, it is you and your consumers, your customers. Your customers are not aware of where you are getting your supplies from. So if your product doesn't taste good, they can't chase your supplying organization. It may be coming from the buying organization. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. But attendance is already taken. So if there are no...
Sir,
Go ahead.
so the issue about maintaining one supplier, I think is a bit different, especially at the district assemblies. At the procurement department, they will tell you they need to register a lot of suppliers into the system, so that when auditors come, they will not be queried that why is this particular one supplier getting contract, getting supply requests. And so I am a bit finding it difficult. Why is this so at the...
Yeah, so that is why I said that.
Assembly.
Yeah, so not only district assemblies, I said in the public sector, because of legal issues, some of these things may be a challenge. I think I mentioned that. So not just MMDs or these assemblies in public sector, because of legal implications or restrictions. Some of these things, are not possible there. Okay. Or maybe a challenge. Sometimes when people see you, I think this morning I mentioned to you, a friend of mine is a procurement officer for a public university hospital. Nana we are almost of the same age. So the other time, the guy took me to his project site, I think 3-4 years ago. So few meters to the house, then he pointed the house, dude, that is my house. And I started screaming from that distance, say, hey, Nana, till we got there. So when we got to the place, I said, so how did you manage? And then it was because he was not managing his procurement functions, well. Because in the hospital, almost all the time, this guy was procuring oxygen, the oxygen they use at the hospitals, from a particular Lebanese company, almost all the time. And then the company was, blessing my friend well. Okay, in fact, they blessed him and everybody saw it. And anytime auditors, went to the university, they will raise issues concerning what my friend was doing. So maybe for 1 year now, I've not, seen him, but the house is massive. So you can't be dealing with just one supplier. Why? All the time. Why? The supplier may be good, but sometimes, people will raise concerns because this is public funds. This is public funds. So you can't, even though it may be the best, it may be in the best interest of the organization, but you need to allow other people. But the reasons for selecting that particular supplier were not solid. In fact, if the guy has solid justification or reasons, obviously the audit team would have cleared him, but always they will raise queries Okay, so that is the challenge with public sector work. That is the challenge. You know, now people started to complain about President Akufo-Addo. You know, they call it family and friends, right? And I think they've started saying the same thing with President Mahama, right? So it is because of the nature of what? I mean, the public scrutiny is very high when it has to do with governance or public sector, because all of us, it is our money. So we need to interrogate, we need to ask questions, we need to, I mean, raise concerns anytime we see things going, I mean, the wrong way. So that is that with, I mean, the situation. But once you move to, I mean, these oil companies, mining companies, they mean business, they are doing business. So once you can think and be creative in the interest of the organization, you will always be given the opportunity to do so. So that is the situation. Thank you very much.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey,
Please,
Festus,
sir.
for the past 3 weeks, you don't come for my lectures, Festus,
Oh,
because
sir.
anytime I take attendance, I don't see your name there.
Oh, sir. Indeed, in fact, it was only last week that I couldn't participate, but almost all the class I've been participating, sir. Oh, sir, you've
This
forgotten
one
about me.
it is screenshot too. So how come your name is screenshot?
Sir, please kindly check the angle where you take the shot.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, but I've been proactive, sir.
Oh,
Anyway,
wonderful.
thank you for the opportunity.
All right.
I now understand why mostly in the public sector and then even some private sectors, the procurement officer's position is very competitive as compared to other positions, because I could realize the kwache, like the deals over there has always been phenomenal. And there was a time I have a personal experience with a hospital in Cal, so I wanted to do some supply to one of the offices.
Okay.
And then I met the procurement officer after giving me all the procedures for me to go through. I required, like, I was able to meet all of them. But one thing that deterred me from, or that stopped me from pursuing, was the cut that he and then the accountant were ready to take before even they award the contract.
Okay.
There and there I realized, like, just as you are adding to your friend's scenarios,
Yeah.
I realized that that position is very icy.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So that is the reason why most projects, do not end well. Because look at the cut you mentioned. Previously, it was 10%. Others are taking 15%, sometimes even more than that. So if you give a contract and you are taking 10%, 15% from the contract, how do you expect the contractor to, construct the road or bridges? Can you imagine? Okay, so 10%, 20% just taken out. Sometimes the money is taken before you are even allowed to go to site.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So how will the contractors, do a good job? They will not be able to do that. They will not be able to do that. 10% of the money is gone. And too few people are going to chop the money. It is dangerous. But you see, I don't want you to be doing that, because if you nurture that mindset, you go to Sawam. When you go there, don't call me, because I will not come. Please, I will not come. So please, let's do it right, because once you do it right, people will say thank you. Okay, people will definitely say thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. The ladies, no, I'm not picking any question from. I want a question from a lady. I want to hear from the ladies.
Sandra is around.
What is happening? Oh, are we in the boys' school? No. There are a lot of ladies here. Yes, quiet. Okay, so I think somebody's hand. I saw a hand. Maybe the last but one. Go ahead. Is it Aaron? Aaron or I saw a hand. Okay, so I think no more questions. That is fine. No more questions. So let's meet next weekend. Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so
Yeah.
There's a lady responded.
I don't mind her.
Tell me I've been here. You know, baby,
Don't mind them. So see you next weekend. Bye bye.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Good night, sir.
Harrison, you're showing your face. Why are you showing your face? You are muted or you are muted.
I said I'm tired. I'm sitting outside. I've remained indoors since morning.
Are you awake?
No, I didn't go to. I don't work on Saturdays and Sundays.
Why?
When my brother do Charlie. Now, what I must say in French, no, myself, no be Elsie. Yeah, mammy.
Oh, myself, me that me but it's not really any work there.
Hey,
Me
session,
but it's not any work there.
I'm gonna record you. Session is still on record, and
I've not done it though, but I'm saying that it's not any difficult. It won't take
okay.
much time. Yeah.
Okay. But are we meeting this evening?
Yeah, Dixon said we are meeting for the.
Harrison, is the class over?
The class is over, but the recording is still in process.
Oh, okay.
I'm what class now? So class 9 did that. I wouldn't say class I end.
Now I said no uncle.
David, they say because of class needs Saturdays, man.
What is that permission?
Oh yeah.
Now, since you are there, say, oh, let's talk behind the other. Say class is still in session. Let's say anything. Maybe.
Okay.